going on, everyone? The Los Angeles Lakers are in a bit of a tough spot. They really are. Because the Lakers really have to make some decisions this offseason. What direction do they go? Do they stand pat and just kind of run it back, maybe add, go get a center, I don't know, like an Andre Drummond or something like that, right? Just get somebody like that, add it to the roster, and you're off to the races. Maybe ideally like a Brook Lopez or something. Do you basically bring everybody back, look at it as hey, Lakers were just in the Western Conference Finals, and this was with a team that played 10 games together going into the playoffs, fully healthy, and they were able to go on a real run and were competitive against the Denver Nuggets. Yes, they got swept, but hey, the entire series was decided by 25 points total. So, can you, with a piece or two, could that be the difference to you maybe winning an NBA championship, right? That's a real possibility. The other options is that the Lakers maybe go look to just push their chips to the table. Maybe you do go get a Bradley Beal or, a DeMar DeRozan or something like that. Get a third star, but a third star that isn't a sign and trade like a Kyrie Irving that allows you to keep basically your entire core intact. And, ideally maybe like a Damian Lillard or something like that, right? Do you push chips to the table and say, okay, let's go figure this out? The other option is you just start trading everybody off and hit that reset button for a year. Because here's the thing. And the reason the Lakers are in a tough spot is because you were just in the Western Conference Finals. But LeBron James, he is on the wrong side of 30, right? Almost 40 at this point. He's very likely going to have foot surgery at the end of the season. I don't have doubts that LeBron can return to being LeBron James because as much as people doubt him, he's never shown otherwise. Every year is the year that he's supposed to be bad, and this is it, and this is where he declines, and it's time to hang it up. And every year, he continues to perform great. Before the injury, he was LeBron James. He was averaging 30 a game and was just remarkable. And then he ended up hurting his foot and having to have foot surgery that he didn't end up having, and he just wasn't the same at that point. But if he's good to go, you very likely could be back in the Western Conference Finals and potentially win an NBA championship. Anthony Davis showed that he can stay healthy in the playoffs and really go on a run. That bodes well going forward. So there are those options and those flexibilities. Obviously, you got to keep the core guys, right? You got to keep Austin Reeves. You got to keep Rui Hachimura. What do you do with D'Angelo Russell? Do you keep him? Mo Bamba, Malik Beasley? Do you look to maybe make a trade and try to go get them? You got to stick with this kind of youth movement and these kind of pieces that are the foundation going forward, because that's key and significant. You got Jared Vanderbilt for another year. Max Christie, does he take that next step? Does he take that next leap and maybe develops into maybe even a starter, right? I mean, he's 6'6", 6'7". Maybe he grows another inch or two and you get really lucky and he's 6'8", 6'9", somewhere around there, and he could be your starting small forward. He already might be our best on-ball defender. And then if he can just knock down a consistent, reliable three ball and maybe some mid-range and stuff, then watch out. He could end up being the next Austin Reeves for the Lakers and taking that next step in year two. He shot just under 42% from three for the Lakers last season, although it was a very, very small sample size. Still, can he get to 38% on maybe more volume? All of a sudden, he can't be worse than Jared Vanderbilt, right? So, if he provides the same level of defense but can give you some offense, it's something to keep in mind. But the Lakers definitely have a nice young core that they could have and bode well for the rotation and to kind of put around your stars. But do you continue to add to that? And, not saying necessarily you go trade LeBron James or Anthony Davis, not saying anything like that. But do you maybe go look to take, instead of going and getting, say a Chris Paul, do you go and look to maybe bring in Scottie Pippen Jr. and kind of develop him, right, over the course of an 82-game season and see if you can kind of get him ready to go and maybe play some quality minutes, right? Stuff like that. Or do you go look and take a flyer on a young guy that maybe hasn't been great lately for whatever team he was on earlier, and maybe you can kind of mold him and shape him, and he can be a guy that you can come in. Or maybe instead of looking for a trade for a Kyrie Irving or something like that, maybe go look for a trade that brings in another young talent like a Rui Hachimura that you're kind of high on, but hasn't really had the playing time or opportunity with the other team, and you can bring them in and go that route. It's definitely a possibility. The Lakers could also kind of maybe do both. Do you go look and go get, like I said, like a Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, where they're not 23, but they're not 34, 35, right? Like Miles Turner's still, what, 27, 28? Can you go do a deal like that and get him, right? That kind of gives you a little AD insurance, because you do also have the concern of like LeBron and AD just bailing on you, right? And that could be a big problem for the Lakers. Like, so do you go get a guy in like Miles Turner and like, okay, well, even if AD does leave, or let's say next year at the end of this season, going into next season, maybe LeBron wants to leave, and maybe we got to look to trade AD. Maybe AD doesn't want to stay, and maybe we look to facilitate a trade with him. Well, then we need a center or a power forward at that point. Now you got a Miles Turner, right? Like and this is why I think it's just such a tough spot for the Lakers to be in, because there's not really a wrong answer, but it could be perceived as a wrong answer depending on what the result is, right? Like if you push your chips to the table and you don't win, and then LeBron leaves and maybe AD leaves, and now you have no real way of getting back to contention for the next like 5 years, then it kind of looks like, you shouldn't have done that. You should have stayed the course. If you don't go all in and let's say, you're a second round exit next year or the next 2 years, and then that still happens, then it's like, see, you should have went all in while you had LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Maybe you would have won a championship or two. If you kind of just, go the route of like a Buddy Hield, a Miles Turner, or, go find a younger guy that comes in, and maybe you are competitive and stuff, right? But it doesn't work out, then you can make the argument like, see, you should have traded Anthony Davis. You should have traded LeBron James. You should have like hit that reset early, and then maybe you would have gotten some nice assets rather than just losing those guys for nothing. Like those are all real arguments that could be made one way or the other. And I trust that the Lakers will do what is best. And I trust that the end result will be what we want it to be and will work out. But I wouldn't want to be them right now, because they're really in this influx, right? He's got one, technically he has 2 years, but that second year is the player option. If the Lakers underperform, does he just say, all right, I'm out. I might as well go play with my son if I'm going to, not make the playoffs or be a first round exit or something, right? Like that's definitely something that could end up happening. Because if he goes to a team that drafts his son, there's not going to be the pressure for him to make the playoffs, right? Especially at age 40. So the Lakers really going to have their hands full this offseason, because you do have LeBron James. And LeBron James has shown his abilities to still be that guy. I mean, even with all the ailments we had with him, he still put on a show in that final game, facing elimination against the Denver Nuggets, and no one else really showed up. And he still showed, like, I can still be that guy. I still got it. I just need help. I need guys to show up. So there is a real argument to like, hey, there probably is one more championship in LeBron James and Anthony Davis. There probably is. Like realistically, again, they were just in the Western Conference Finals. And if they just had one other guy show up, they probably would have won it. And they probably would have been in the NBA Finals, and they probably would have beaten the Miami Heat. So, I mean, it's not far-fetched to think like this team could very well win another chip before LeBron retires or leaves the Lakers to go play with his son or whatever he ends up doing. So, in my opinion, the right move is if you have a chance, you go for it. In my opinion, if you have to trade all your young talent to go basically buy an NBA championship for a year, I think you do it, because that's the goal, right? Is to win titles. Now, obviously, you want to be set up for the future, but if it's one or the other, I think you go and get the chip, right? Now, I'm not saying that the Lakers have to go and trade Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves and everybody to go win a chip. It's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, like, if you have to give up, the 17th pick, 29th pick, maybe you have to let go of a Max Christie or something, as much as it may be painful to see that happen, right? But if you have to, and you can go get, a Buddy Hield to Miles Turner and, maybe, I don't know, sign Chris Paul or something. It's like, man, Lakers got Chris Paul, Buddy Hield, Miles Turner, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, like Jared Vanderbilt. Like, come on. Like, this is ridiculous, right? And that doesn't sound that far-fetched. It's not that unrealistic that all of that stuff could happen. And if it does, like, you go win a chip. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think the Lakers should do? Do you think that they are in a tough spot? Do you agree? Disagree? However you feel? Love to hear it. Let me know.